Hey guys, for the extra Sunday content, as well as bonus weekly content on top of that, go to our Patreon link in the description and find the Black Kluge tier or higher and subscribe.
Tell you the truth, man. Here's some guy. That's the problem with radio. Some guy who's managing an automotive parts store is telling you how to do your radio show. Meanwhile, I'm a genius.
Absolutely.
Well, that may be straight. We did teach you how to steal material. That was good.
That was true. You did teach me how to do that.
You were good.
Gary's in us maggot, and they mentioned they call me Bababooey. I don't give a shit if they mention they call me Bababooey. I don't care. I don't care about they call me Bababooey. I hope the book does well. I think the fans will enjoy it. I'm hoping he has a success. But I don't give a fuck. I want to get
Thursday
the
when you're on your way out of here.
Don't bother me with Bababooey.
Can you bang any of those stripper broads on the show?
Teresa Lynn said you banged up.
Teresa who?
She was on here. She was in your movie, Private Parts.
Oh, Amy. No.
Teresa, the one with the little ass.
She never said that.
She told
That's
me.
a lie. Admit you're lying.
That's Tony. She told
Tony. Did I ever bang Teresa Lynn?
I do have to ask, do you think there's a physical match between him and Beth?
Do you? Yes, they're both tall and have 10 fingers.
Yeah, they look right together.
I don't know, they look more right together now.
Where was this on the regular show?
It just occurred to me when I listened to
First of all, what business is it of anyone when I get paid? And if the CFO, if this guy's the chief financial officer, why is he broadcasting what I need to be earning and what I should be making, and that I'm paid too much? Howard Stern, and this is called a yutz. You know what it is? Somebody asked him a question, and he wants to seem like he knows something.
I don't mean to be adversarial. I'm just saying this has come up on the show, and I know we're asked not to talk about it, but people are calling.
What did they tell you? What did they tell you?
Well, they told us we shouldn't talk about it.
Talk about what?
Talk about your hair loss.
I don't have hair loss. I have more hair than you do.
You know, some of our crew says Beth is the Yoko Ono. I don't know whether that's
what?
Yes!
Beth, poor Beth. Beth doesn't.
This is my crew. These are the guys with the cameras.
Well, listen to me. This is, this is so silly.
Well, Beth always says to me, you're much older than I am. You're 19 years. What am I going to do when you're dead? Blah, 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 blah. And I go, honey.
You're going to have a party.
Let me tell you something. You're going to have a party.
Now we know how Robin's thinking.
Wow.
No, now you're going to say, I'm making a
You're
joke.
fucked up.
But when you piss on somebody's job opportunity, Ellen really wanted to be a judge on American Idol. Wasn't her goal when she got into the business, but she really wanted it, and she took the job. She would deny me my dream job because she doesn't like me personally. And that's why I told you Ellen's a cunt.
Welcome, folks, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between. This is QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and with me is our Doctor of Sound, Mr. Bobby Chicago. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not too bad at all. And we are going to finish Bababooey's Feast, guys. This is the epilogue, and it's actually got more content than you might imagine because we have wrap-up show clips from the day of the May 1st. From 2007, after he's attacked everybody on the show, then a couple wrap-up show clips. Then he reads some letters that are great from the fans the next day, which is on the 2nd, and then Beth calls in on the 2nd and explains fully what went down. So, without further ado, we're going to go right into it.
Show.
Thanks, guys. You guys are great.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say real quick how everybody kind of skipped over, and especially Howard, how he kept reflecting on everybody else of that asshole movie he made at Gary's house. Guy was, going off about how everybody was late and this and that, and he just needs to apologize, get over it. I feel sorry for Gary.
Yeah, I think so. He just jumped topics for a second, but I think what he's going at is Howard really did. He just viciously lashed out at everybody.
He deflected to Artie, Robin, you,
Fred,
your wife.
No, Fred and my wife.
Fred.
My wife was the topper on there.
Yeah.
Like, he yelled at Fred for something that happened at the Rainbow Room, in 91.
Ralph, that's right. But I think Artie got the most heat because Artie reacted the strongest to the deflection. I mean, Artie sounded genuinely ticked when Howard finally said, you know what? your lateness is the reason why this all went down.
You know, me and Howard were just talking about how every argument gets dragged out on the show since we came to Sirius because a million shows analyze it, and now the Superfan Roundtable will probably talk about it, and the website, and blah, 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 and the news department. But, yeah, we should probably drop this because it got to a point to where Howard clearly is not backing off on this, and it's going to get uglier and uglier every day. He's unbelievably wrong on this issue. He's not going to admit that, so I think we have to move on.
It's funny because Artie told him he thought he was wrong. Robin told him he thought he was wrong. Fred told me he thought he was wrong, and the email overwhelmingly agrees with that. And it's like funny, like we were joking around, like if Howard just said, yeah, you know what, I'm wrong, what are you going to do? It'd be over. But it's funnier. I guess it's like when he yells at me and I just continue to fight with him, it's the same thing. Like he continues to say that he's right, and he'll mow down anybody that gets in his way.
When you I can't seem to recall if this is old ground, Bob, but I don't remember asking you when you heard this the first time, because I know you were getting more into O&A at the time. If you heard this the first time originally, did you remember thinking, okay, this is there's something absolutely wrong with him, and more than because he just prolonged it for so long and insisted and maintained it for so long that it got beyond funny. It was actually sort of disturbing.
I absolutely felt that way. It just felt like there's just something missing in the whole story, you know, like there's just someone's not saying something. It's just not adding up. It just there's a disconnect here because I was still under the hypnosis of Howard at the time. He was still getting the benefit of the doubt, but there was definitely something where it's like, this isn't adding up totally, you know.
And you didn't think it was fake, like they decided this is the bit they're going to drag out either, right?
Absolutely did not think it was fake, no.
Okay, because now here's Ralph calling in from that same Wrap-Up show.
Hey, Ralph, did you expect your call today to go as it went?
What do you... Oh, you mean Howard being... Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't hear... How bad did I get railed on?
Pretty good. He said sort of like, I think the words were something like, fuck him, I've been pretty good to him, who's nicer to him than me?
Oh, yeah, no Christmas bonus next year.
Right, that was a biggie.
I'm not getting $50 grand next year?
No, $50 grand next year.
Damn. No, come on, listen, Howard, I mean, I was just trying to give you guys a good clip to play on the air today, but come on, I don't know how he doesn't see that was wrong and just admit to it and be done with it. Like Artie said, it's just going to go on forever, but I just thought it was a terrible thing to do. And then to try and say like I did, again, if anybody else did anything like that at a party that Beth threw or that Howard threw, it would be a hanging offense. You know, you would just be killed.
Right, we were talking about some of the things that Howard said over the years, like Robin had a party for Fred, and Scott DePace didn't come because the weather got bad, and Howard called him an animal. Only an animal would not show up to a party like that.
I once talked to John about this. What do you think Howard would attend? Like if Scott Salem had a party, a going-away party for his kid, a big one, would Howard attend?
No.
If depends where it is, by the way, too. That's important.
If I had...
That's so true. Sometimes if they were in the lobby of his own house, he wouldn't attend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd go to that one if it was in his lobby.
No.
There we go.
My son's communion. No. Would Howard attend anything that I threw? Anything?
No. He might, but I don't think he's
your
funeral.
I was saying I'm putting my wedding stuff together. I think he would come to my wedding if it was in New York.
Right.
I think there's no chance he's going to come to it if it's outside New York.
That's right.
Well, it also depends on what time, what day,
right?
You know, and how much time.
I got one. How about, let's say, for example, John Hines' daughter's bat mitzvah. Do you think Howard would attend? What do you think, Gary?
I don't think he would attend, but I think he would want to attend. But again, unless it's 2 blocks away.
No.
He's not going to John's bat mitzvah.
Hey, by the way, I want to give a heads up. I think at Howard 100 News they got a hold of my chef, and they're interviewing him at Howard 100 News. So keep an ear open for that.
Stay tuned for the news.
The guy who should be least offended of all.
Hang up on Ralph, please.
So I don't think they did actually get an interview out of him. I have a feeling there was some kind of media shutdown on that one for sure, because Howard was, and this is the thing that I really am amazed with. In this next clip, this is where he spends about however much long reading the comments from the emailers and people who wrote in. At what point, Bob, do you think where he snapped and he decided, I'm not going to hear any criticism, I'm not going to read any criticism about the show ever again on the show? Because there was definitely a breaking point. Do you think it was the Marcy Turk, or do you think it was before that?
At what point that there was just a total shutout?
Yes.
I definitely by the Marcy Turk time, she was definitely in his head, and she was starting to manage the perception of himself and his show for him. I think is really what she the reason why he favored her so much was she relieved him from needing to do that and was like, well, I know what your image is, I know what the illusion is, and I'll go ahead and manage that for you. You know, so any news that needs to come in, anything you need to know is just going to go through me now. That's a huge relief for someone with NPD, because that's a major struggle for them, is managing that illusion, you know?
Next clip is called "The Fans Have Their Say." And so this is the day after the big blow up.
Calls me boss. I told him I'm not his boss, but he insists on me being
You
his
insist
boss.
on not being anybody's boss, but everybody calls you boss.
Yeah, in fact, Gary calls me boss.
Right.
One thing I did want to add, because I was thinking about what you just asked, like, what did you think when this happened? I will say this much. It definitely raised flags, because for me, I always noticed how they were talking about what a great guy he is. Like, they were always talking about how much he does for the staff, what a great dad he is, what a great husband. And like, even when I was younger, I'm like, why the fuck are they always talking about this? Like, there's just an alarm goes off for me when someone's always has to tell you what a good guy they are. You know, I'm such a good husband. Whenever I hear that now, I think, all right, there's something there. Because if you really were this great guy, you wouldn't need to tell everybody every 2 minutes.
No.
But when this happened, it was like, okay, I think something's wrong. Like, I think something's off. Like, a lot of those suspicions I kind of had, it was like, I don't think Howard is how he is convincing and brainwashing us. Like, I don't think he is that way.
Right.
I definitely had that thought when this all went down.
Well, I mean, PR is everything in the game, and the fact is, how do you know that one of your friends is a good person? Well, you see how they interact with other people. You see how they interact with their significant other, and they don't know that you're looking at them or observing them or listening to them, and then you see it at different times of day, different occasions. That's how you know that person's a good person. I don't know that they were ever all convinced that he was a good person, or, believe it or not, they could have been as fooled as we were, even being within the compound, because I thought, for example, Howard was actually very smart and he was playing dumb for the show.
I thought that too, because that was a part of the narrative, but it was always, you did this generous thing. There was this generous offer. I did this. There was always that running theme going, and Howard's different off of the mic. Like, I always heard that go on. And it's just like, for me, if someone's a good guy or if someone's tough, you know, like, I don't need to be told. I'll be able to tell if someone's tough. Like, if they walk in a room, the guys that have to talk about how tough they are usually the guys that are not tough at all. So it was one of those things where it was like, it kind of caught my attention how often they were talking about how generous he was and how he's this great guy, great dad. And then you start seeing these little things chip away the more that he got into the Beth era, or whatever you want to call it, Beth Vortex. That was really just his illusion kind of exploding, because at least his previous marriage tethered him to reality somewhat. This was just his head blowing up.
Well, yeah, and then I think actually there was a certain It really was like, don't pay attention to that guy behind the curtain type of thing. And it was slowly getting unraveled, and it was almost always because he was too stupid to maintain the illusion he had wanted to set forward for people and put best foot forward for people. And then the Beth stuff, it culminates. It's like a slow build, the way like a long 3-hour thriller might be, where when you do finally get to the end, okay, it all makes sense. But I'm thinking of the film Angel Heart, which makes a lot of sense when it's explained at the end, but it doesn't make any sense really watching it linearly, in a linear fashion. I don't know if that's correct the way I said that, but either way, he's going to read some of the comments, and they are pretty funny because some of them are just dead on brutal, and he has a disconnect when he reads it, which again, you'd think he's fine with it because he's okay with himself the way he handled things. But later on, like, why can't you read these things now? It's because it's uniformly negative. Maybe that's the reason why he can't have these anymore.
Oh, Howard couldn't. His brain doesn't understand. He's so far beyond this point now. There's no way he could even do something like this. Read comments like this. Like, his brain would not allow it. He's checked out. He's gone.
But is that a symptom of NPD where when they get worse? I mean, every aspect of everything gets more extreme.
From what I see, so like even with this, like, he started to get greedy with the illusion with Beth. Especially pushing that the Beth loves him and this and that. And no one bought it, and I think that was a big thing that chipped away at it. But the more I see them get greedy towards their illusion and the more panicked they get, or the more, not panicked, manic. They get more manic as they believe their own illusion, or as it's fed more into basically they get more supply is what it is.
Right.
I find that they don't fully come back, almost like someone who's been addicted severely to a drug. They don't fully ever return. They become like this world becomes alien to them, almost like a schizoid type of thing. Wow. So like as Howard got more and more greedy with the illusion, and the more he distanced himself from reality, for being honest, that's what happened to Howard. It's like that world becomes alien to them. They never know really how to return to it. And this is what you see in really extreme cases, like I believe Howard has. So that's why I say I don't think it's even possible for him to read. So like even his brain couldn't comprehend even what these comments would be if he read them now. He's so far removed.
Well, the reason why I ask is because there was an analysis of the recent Amber Heard post-trial interview she did with some show. I can't remember which program, but it's part of a long interview that supposedly is out. It's probably out tonight already. And one of the things she says, I can't even conceive how the jury would not find for me, how they would not find with all the mountain of evidence we provided. And it's almost the same way I hear his voice talking about the merger stuff. When he was saying, the judge, the lawsuit, how couldn't she find for me? I think the bias and this, that, and the other thing, instead of what Carrie said. I don't know if you've heard the lawsuit episode yet, but the letter of the law within the contract that he and Don initialed and signed, every single page, that had no reality to him, no basis in reality, now that the case has been found against him. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get my way, so this is no longer valid. But it was when I was getting paid and when I was, wanting to work for Sirius at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Amber's going through this trial. She's going through the motions. She's talking her bullshit, thinking she's going to win. All of a sudden, she doesn't win. Oh, they were too stupid to understand that's not Captain Jack Sparrow on the stand. That's Johnny Depp. That's an abuser. Oh, he broke my nose. Meanwhile, she looks like she just got out of bed and woke up with a prom dress on. In the picture, she provides as evidence that he busted my nose when he smashed my face when he usually wore rings. There's not a mark on her face. So it made me think she must have multiple diagnoses, but definitely the narcissism shining right through, because how could they not see my reality? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Their goal is to achieve the illusion is not a reality, and they want to continually believe the non-reality. And if there's a focused effort with enough people supporting it, you will enter that reality.
The Twilight
It's almost
Zone.
like someone you meet that's taken a lot of LSD, and you like talk to him, you're like, this motherfucker's gone. You know what I mean? Like, this dude's brain has gone to another realm and it's stayed there. It's sort of a similar thing to this, because they have such a strong proclivity to disassociate from reality. They don't want to be in reality. Their entire existence is to escape from it.
Okay, so let's say, for example, you've got somebody videoing their daily activities, and they video these interactions with people where they have been, like, by all rules of convention of society and by all rules of etiquette, empirically they're wrong. They're found wrong, and they would, if they were a normal person, they go, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But because of this reality, that video, they'd be watching that video on a replay and say, oh, that wasn't me. I didn't do that. I don't believe that. This is all bullshit. That's how strong it can get, that delusion.
Even stronger than that.
Yeah.
To where they can go, I don't remember it happening that way. And you show them the video. It didn't happen that way in my mind. Well, we have the video right here. That's wrong. Or got the wrong angle.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
It really is that way. There's no accountability. Look at the opening clip we had. Artie, we might as well fucking drop the thing. He's sticking to it because you get to know these people. There will be no resolve. It is a waste of energy. He does not exist in reality. It's deeper than him not wanting to admit he's wrong. He doesn't have the tools to. Let's drop it. Forget it.
Yeah,
that's what he was saying.
He's incapable of seeing self-blame.
Zero accountability.
Yeah.
Zero. They have none.
On a baseline. So let's say it's also real. I hate to keep to cut into the clips, but let's say, for example, his daughters call him out on something. Even then, someone as close to his blood, he's going, no, that's your fault. I didn't do anything wrong.
I would say the closer that someone is in proximity to them, the less credibility they have, because they're going to look at that, and just like what Ralph said, he's the closest one to weigh in on anybody. He's not getting a bonus. He's threatening them. Like, everyone that's close to their inner circle, they don't care anything about their opinion, because they're all in one way or another indebted to them.
Yeah.
So even if they're right, it's, you owe me one. You owe me one anyways, so it doesn't matter what you say. Even that close, man, it doesn't. It's a futile fight, and that's why when people walk away from these people, they don't even really seek vengeance. There's no point. This person will never admit an insult or an injury. There's no point. Yeah. They don't want anything to do with them. So,
wow, incredible.
Yeah,
just fascinating.
Hey, both.
You're like Springsteen. I'm not the boss.
It says, hey, boss, not that it matters, but I felt compelled to chime in on this bullshit Gary's party drama. What a bunch of drama queens.
This is supposedly from Bubba, by the way, who's still on the air with them at Sirius.
You came there on time. You stayed nearly 3 hours. That's plenty by anyone's standard. Plus, let's not forget who the fucking boss is. Boy, these people don't know how to work.
There wouldn't even
hold on. There wouldn't even be. Listen to this.
F you.
There wouldn't even be a new house or a fancy chef without you. Has anyone begin to think of that? My boys would never even think about putting me through what your unappreciative millionaire employees are doing to you.
All right, now Bubba stepped out of line.
My guys are just happy that I came and paid my respects, Bubba Soprano style. Just saying, I'm on your side all the way and would be happy to discuss or express it to anyone.
Meanwhile, Bubba, that deluded fat fuck, doesn't realize that they're not millionaires. Like, they're not millionaires. Artie, by virtue of working his ass off, has probably $1 million or so, but they're not getting paid millions. They're not even getting paid, like, they're getting paid well at this point, but they're not getting what he thinks they're getting. He's projecting what Howard's salary means to everybody else there. So
yeah, and why the fuck would anyone care what he has to say? He wasn't there.
That's right.
And of course, he's a kiss ass. So fuck him.
Suck him.
We got on the radio yesterday.
Excuse me, hold it for a second. I thought you said he gave you a straightening out.
Yeah, I should have said this myself to you.
You are an asshole and he's an asshole.
Straighten your ass out!
You know what Bubba said that was great? He goes, I ought to send all of their crew to Bubba Boot Camp. Give them a fucking attitude adjustment.
Send me to Bubba Boot Camp. You'll have a whittled down Bubba when you're done.
I would love to tell
you could wear him down?
I would love to tell Bubba to go fuck himself in person.
The Air Force, what happened when I was there?
Oh, my God. Ask the Air Force. Someone who had to stay 6 months longer because they were overpaid in the Air Force and then chalked it up to being a good money manager. They maxed out their fucking credit cards and decided, you know what? If I'm going to stay here, I got to get myself a big color TV. Can't afford it.
Right.
And then she went on fucking Sally Jesse Raphael and said I was forced to stay. She voluntarily had to stay so that they could take money from her salary to pay off the fucking debt. And in fact, I think she owed. I think there was something like $10,000 outstanding that they went after her for after she was discharged, like after she finished her service. And then she never. I don't even know if she ever paid it.
Well, yeah. Ask them what? Like, what did you do other than steal money from them?
Oh.
You know, like, and I do kind of agree with her on that. Like, what is this fat Bubba Boot Camp? Like, fat fuck, drink Pepsi, eat pizza. Like, who gives a shit? Except that she's a bad example because her stint in the Air Force was all bullshit. It's like she claims she didn't salute other officers. She didn't make her bed. All this bullshit. Yeah. And I've spoken to military people, like fans of the show, and I've asked, how could this possibly happen? And they said, if she was ever a case where she didn't salute a non-commissioned officer, they said she would be in for a shitbird, which was basically a bunch of fucking abuse. Because absolutely, the person did say, because it's the Air Force, it might be a little more lenient, but I seriously doubt she was the big rebel she claims to be in the Air Force. She wasn't.
No, of course not.
It's acting like it's like a Navy SEAL training.
Right, exactly. What's your major malfunction, numbnuts?
See, I've got a lot of learning to do.
Boot Camp.
Bubba Boot Camp. I'm sending you all for a week.
Bubba Boot Camp.
Bubba Boot Camp. And the email was equally vicious toward me as you were. Terrible. What an embarrassment, Howard. I can only imagine your reaction if one of your underlings would have exited in the middle of a dinner you were hosting. Oh, you don't know me. I'd kiss their feet.
Stop it.
Gary, more than anybody, works his ass off for you. And what do you do but totally disrespect him? And his wife must be heartbroken. Oh, yes, I understand she's now in a mental institution.
She had to be taken away.
Yes, they carted her away in a white jacket. Having worked so hard to put together an elegant party for her husband to entertain his boss. If you didn't want to go, politely refuse the invitation. You didn't even have the excuse of a long drive home. Now, we all wish we could be driven to all of our destinations. It's sad for me to say this, but after more than 20 years of listening, I'm convinced Howard thinks he's too good to socialize with the common folk. Let me correct you. For 20 years, I've not wanted to socialize with anybody. Don't think I changed. It's always been like this.
He would have walked out of Paul Newman's party, my friend.
I don't think so. See, I don't really think so.
She's right. Absolutely. He was angling for celeb dinners his entire life. Mm-hmm. And when he did get it, he had nothing to say because he wanted to maintain that relationship. And then we hear back from people that he was just a boring fuck. And he goes, what's the expression? Ben said it. He never gets the second play date with any of the celebs because he's such a fucking tedious asshole and a stiff.
I would have.
I think he would have sat there for every last drop of that salad dressing.
Hold on a second. That was a discussion on the wrap-up show yesterday that we didn't poll. If Robin would have had that party, it's everything exactly the way it went.
Was I the first to leave Robin's party the other night?
The other night? But you stayed longer than 3 hours.
You stayed past the dessert. Howard.
Did I? Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, but guess what? That was served on time. I showed up on time and the meal was put out.
if you want to go down that road.
And also, I wasn't tired.
You left Robin's party at 10:35.
So that's the point. So one time I leave a party early. You guys are up my fucking ass. I mean, when have I left?
One time.
The one fucking time. I went to your house out in the Jersey Shore.
Yes.
I was there the whole goddamn day.
Well, you threatened to leave within an hour
Well,
before you actually got there.
I did. I wanted to turn around. I was miserable.
Oh, you was mad.
Now, listen, I mean, one time I left early. I couldn't keep my eyes open.
When I went down to
my time.
When I walked.
Dude, who the fuck would ever want this guy to come to anything, man? Like, just listen to this. Who would want him at a party?
Well, that's it. But who invites him out? This is the whole thing. If I'm sure with the celebs he goes out with, he's not like, he puts on his bullshit party face, whatever that might be, and he starts charming them. What do you call it? Love bombing, and kisses their ass and whatever. But I think if any of them have any bit of awareness, they can pretty much intrinsically tell when they're talking to him that he's full of shit and that this is all just, this is all nonsense to hang with me. And they don't bother calling him again because they figure, I don't need this. I just wanted to chill. I thought this guy was self-confident. He could talk about himself, let his hair, pardon the expression, let his hair down and just talk about life.
Well, the one I always think about, I don't know the chick's name. I hate celebrity culture. Okay. Whoever he was on a vacation with, I remember her.
Jennifer Aniston.
Talking about how he went to bed at 8.
Yeah.
Or like 7 or 8.
Right.
Like, what the fuck, man? How weird is that? Who would want to be around that? I don't think he got, like you said, a second play date after that, but like, I would just be looking around like, is this guy a fucking serial killer or what? Like, we're out in an island. He's going to bed at 8. What the fuck?
I got to clean up the van for the next victim tomorrow. Got an early day picking him up off at the high schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
sad,
I think.
Man.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm pushing. Okay, I'm 47, turning 48, and my days of being up really, really late, like until the fucking sun comes up, are pretty much past me, although I could still pull it off. The recovery process now that I'm older is god awful, like really, really bad. But I used to do it when I was 26, 27. I must have seen 40 fucking Sunday dawns. That's how late we stayed up, just on the weekend rather.
Oh my God.
Because that's what you do. I mean, you literally, you have the energy to do it. I understand if he's just too fucking old and can't do it, but it's more, he doesn't want to do it. He's got this stupid thing in his head. I must go to bed at 8 o'clock.
Dude, my mom is his age now. I guarantee if we were out at an island that he was at with those celebrities, like, you're telling me you couldn't have managed to stay up till 10 or 11 or 12?
Or whatever, until people went to bed.
Yeah, I mean, he went to bed at 8. Like, there was nothing. They weren't like, yeah, we had a big day or whatever. He went to 8 because in his mind, he goes to bed at 8. Yeah. And he made his wife come with him. He wouldn't let her hang out and have a good time.
But that ritualization is also a big part of NPD, isn't it?
Absolutely it is. They get shit in their head. There's no logic. It's emotion. It's emotional thinking. This is why it's so difficult with them. It's emotionally based. Like, we're being logical. Like, you're out with celebrities. You're on vacation. You're in an exotic place. Like, stick it out to 9, 10,
bingo.
11.
Yeah.
But it's like in their mind, he emotionally is so afraid of what will happen if he breaks from this routine. Right. But I'm just saying from their perspective, I already know why he did what he did. But imagine if you're out and the dude goes to bed at 8 and you're on a celebrity vacation and like they were talking about they were going to go jump on him and whatever, throw water on him. And I guess Beth was like, not fucking do that. But
no, don't do that. Yeah.
That would be so weird to me if someone did that, man. I'm telling you, if I was out on a trip and someone just said they're going to bed at 8, I'd be really weirded out by that.
Well,
honestly.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I don't quite get the pathology, to be honest with you, even though I can read up about it. But I mean, especially with the celebs, like you went for the express purpose to hang out with these fucking people, and you're still going to maintain this rigid, like you're a goddamn you're a goddamn Swiss watch. You have to be wound at this time, and all of a sudden you're ready for the morning. And that is something I don't understand, especially since he only works 3 days a week now. And at that time when he did that vacation, he had a 3-day work week. You could recover easily from that, whatever that late night, because you're on vacation. It doesn't even matter. You're not even working at that trip.
Yeah. You could have room service all day the next day and lay in bed and hydrate and eat and do whatever you need to do if you were out too late. Like, it's total bitchness. It's emotional thinking. It's like just fear. Like, I don't want to be tired or feel off or whatever. Like, man, it's just, it's so strange to me. It really is.
Hey, look, just imagine it's a weeknight and you got to work the next day. You're not supposed to be drinking, whatever, but you know your limits. You know, you can push it a couple hours, right?
Imagine that. I do that 3 times a week.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But you run into like, I don't know, a fellow drummer from a band that you really love, but it's just a chance meeting somewhere, and you decide, fuck it, man. I'm if they're drinking, I'll have a couple drinks just to push it out a little bit more. I'll leave at midnight and get 5 or 4 hours sleep, but then I can make it up tomorrow. Like, I'll take a nap when I finish work, and I'll just go to sleep way earlier.
But see, you're again, it's logical thinking. Yeah. It's not emotional fear thinking. And yes, that would absolutely happen if I ran into like the drummer from Tool and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna hit this bar. You want to come talk shop?" Fucking hell, I'm going.
There's not even 2 options. You're going.
Oh, 100%. At 100%, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on his. And I get too. I don't want to go too far off. I know we got to get back to the clips, but I would love to do a show on just his real schedule, because all we've heard about is how much he works. And he wakes up at 5:30 or 5. Like, dude, I know so many people that wake up at 4:30, 5:30. They ride the shitty CTA that's literally covered in piss at that time because the hobos sleep in it overnight and they pee on the floors. There's no limo rides. There's no catered lunch. None of that. I don't know. I just think it'd be funny to break down how much does he actually work? Because I remember one day Robin asked him, "You're so busy. Like, what are you doing after work?" And then it just turned out all he did was he was going to exercise, and that was it.
He claimed. Yeah, I think he exercises
a personal trainer, like, no less.
Yeah, I think he exercises the same way he, quote, meditates.
Right.
Right. And I think he just lays in front of the fucking couch, and he's a couch potato, except he's not actually eating chips or any snack, anything that might be enjoyable. He's eating air, or maybe semen. Anyway, let's keep going.
To Robin's party, I said, "Hey, Howard." He goes, "God, I wish I was at the Hamptons."
Yeah, I was tired.
Either you were or you weren't. You stayed a long time at that party.
I did the best I could. I even went on the boat. I tried everything.
You went on the boat, which you said you wouldn't do. You did everything you said you wouldn't do.
I love this now. It's become rubbing elbows with Billy Joel. I've gone out with Billy Joel, I think, 3 times in my life.
And you never leave early.
Oh, that's not true.
But by the same token, Howard, I told you when you said you would come and do an hour at my party, I said you should not come.
Right. Yeah.
If you didn't plan to come to enjoy yourself, you shouldn't come.
Thank you for that, by the way.
But
Thank you for setting me straight.
No, I'm just saying that I'm sure that's what the audience is feeling, too. Right. If you're not willing to be in a party festive mood, don't show up.
Yeah, well, that's your MO, that's for sure.
Well, I was sick.
You sure didn't show up.
I was sick, I did graciously decline.
Your invitation should always say, "Coming to party optional."
Well, I mean, it should say it also on wedding invitations, baptisms, birthdays, bat mitzvahs, all that shit for where he's concerned. I think, and I can't remember where it was, who it was. It was definitely Jay Thomas. We're going to tackle at one of the Jay Thomas interviews where he just completely shits all over and said, just don't do what you're doing and you'll be all right. And he goes, I met this, this Korean national team volleyball player, really tall. I saw this and her coach. And then I met someone else and we all had some drinks together and I stayed out a little later than I probably should have. And, I'll probably pay for it, today, and if I'm not feeling the greatest, but I did it. And he goes, well, Howard, why can't you do that? He goes, I'll think about it. I can't stay up too late. I'll be sick. I got to be prepared. It's just the whole thing. And Jay just goes, that's ridiculous. He goes, I know you're great at what you do, but this is not difficult. This work is not difficult what you do. So when we do that one episode, it's just going to be a fucking, it's one of those episodes where, Howard had to like double time at the shrink that week because someone was telling him shit he didn't want to hear.
I like this. I can't believe you were such a dick and left Gary's dinner before the main course was served. No, you got to understand something. There were 4 main courses. You're not getting it.
You missed the potatoes au gratin.
It was a 4-course meal.
No.
Or
It was actually 5 courses.
Yeah, 5 courses.
Yeah.
A lot of people, chicken was, the one right before the main course, which if you don't eat red meat, I guess that's your main course. But
and they sat me at that table for a half hour before you saw one drop of food.
What?
It was a half hour before we saw any food.
Sitting.
I don't think.
And the hour before that.
I can't trust you. Are you making that up?
No, I'm telling you the truth.
I don't think we were sitting a half an hour.
Hey. Whatever.
Howard, I love you. Boy, you just fucking expand time when it benefits.
All right. Whatever.
Like a half hour ago.
All I know is I would say it was about 8:40 when we first ate.
Is that Robin? We Saturday.
I hate it when narcissists play with time to gaslight. It's one of the biggest pet peeves I'll ever have. I hate it, man.
Just because they got to make it suit their bullshit reality.
The reason why is because it's not even subtle gaslighting.
Yeah.
It's like you were not there 30 minutes. It did not go on 30 minutes. We know it didn't. Yep. And you're suiting it. You're playing with time. You're playing with memories. It bothers me so much, man. Yeah. It really does.
Well, because you're right. It's the most obvious and it's the most blatantly provable. Like it's the one that you absolutely, because is bullshit, because everybody's got a watch. If they don't have a watch, they've got their phone. They're looking at their phone. They remember. Someone comes in, you look at your phone, you see what time it is when they arrive there. It's embedded in your fucking brain. Now, when you drink all night, you might not remember when you left, roughly, or but time is, we measure time for so many things. It's one of those things where you can almost always bank on it being at least roughly correct. But yeah, you're right. When he does this bullshit, it's like silly putty in his hands, that prick.
8:20.
No, we sat at 8:15.
Saturday 20.
8:15.
I call it ready. We sat at 8:20.
You were supposed to be sitting at 8.
Hey, whoa. Do you want to hear what I have to say?
No, I didn't ask you. Who asked you to say anything? I didn't ask you for a fucking thing. I'm conversing now. This is my time. You can get on that wrap-up show and talk all you want. You can wrap up all day.
I think I need to go to Spice Boy boot camp.
You know what? I'm still back to Bubba. You're going to listen to Mr. Foghorn Leghorn about what you do at a dinner party.
When it's convenient.
Bubba's right on target.
Yeah. Okay. He's a Vanderbilt.
Here's another one that agrees.
Yeah, Bubba's got the white gloves on. Jesus. That dude, I think he's on Twitch now. I don't even know if he still manages to, but I'm trying to figure out who's hit more rock bottom, just Stuttering John or Bubba. And I'd say Bubba's slightly above John, but Stuttering John.
Stuttering John is like doing bad regardless of a former celebrity status. Like, that dude's not doing well.
But the problem is he's a fucking drunk. He's an alcoholic. And I've never been one to fucking kick the town drunk when he's passed out in the alley, kick him, and pile on him. I guess I have a soft spot for not him, but addiction. And I figure I just don't think it's fair to go after people who are completely they've neutralized themselves. So why go after the lowest hanging fruit possible?
Yeah, no, I don't want to kick them. And there's another podcast that's out there, and they really give it to them. What are these WATP?
Yeah, WATP.
It's like, man, fucking leave it alone already. I mean, I'm not trying to start any problems, but it's like the way they go at them. Like, I don't mind that show, but it's like the constant thing, and it's kind of like,
they're beating
this guy's doing bad. This guy's doing bad. Like, there's a certain point where it's like, have some class, back up. You know, like, pick a different target, man.
Well, didn't they used to make their bones reviewing other podcasts?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so now they've degenerated for the last 10, 12 weeks into a flame war with a complete fucking degenerate wet brain shithead.
Mm-hmm. It's been going on a long time, dude. I remember that starting with them before I moved back into the city, which was probably that was like a year ago. I remember their bread and butter was John. And in the beginning, it was okay because he was coming back at them and he wasn't totally rock bottomed.
Right.
But like the more it's gone on, it's like, dude, you guys are fucking with this guy again. Like, leave it alone. That guy can't punch back.
No, he can't. So, and recently got a comment about this, that, and the other thing. And I'm saying, guys, do you not know the difference? Howard's rich, still mildly famous, and he's not a fucking addict, at least that we know of. And so when we go after him or we go after certain targets, they can at least fight back, and they're actually doing way better than the average person. Stuttering John is literally an alcoholic hosting a show in his muffler. You know, like he's pathetic. And I've never why don't we fucking destroy Jeff the Drunk, a guy with one arm who's a fucking alcoholic? Who would tune into that?
Yeah, that's why I just can't believe how long it's gone on with them and coming at Jeff the Drunk, or not Jeff the Drunk, Stuttering John. But Bubba, you know, the thing about him, I never really knew that much about him. I don't know that I ever really listened to his show. I know he kind of came off kind of ratty to me, kiss ass, spineless, you know.
Yeah.
Hid that camera in his place and taped Hulk Hogan. Like, just weird kind of rat-like behavior with that. And he seemed phony as fuck, man. He seemed like, I know he wanted to be edgy, but you knew that guy wouldn't crack an egg. I mean, there was no edge in that dude. That was always the impression I got from him. He just seemed really corny and
just a total put on.
The kiss assness with him was just like off the charts. Like, I don't know.
It's a similar reason why we don't go after Caitlyn and Brent, because number one, I didn't give a fuck about them. They came to the Stern Show after I stopped really caring. And number two, she's doing an OnlyFans, and they're doing porn to sustain their lifestyle. And I mean, I'm sorry, guys, I ain't punching that far down. You know, there's a certain level I'll go to, but that's beyond. So
I agree.
They're doing a much better job of fucking on themselves than anybody else could. Same with Stuttering John. So wait till at least till they get up on their feet before you fucking kick them in the ass. That's my take.
Exactly.
Anybody else might have a little bit they might want to see a therapist themselves.
With you guys, I love you, but in this instance, that is your etiquette at Gary's party. You are being the world's biggest asshole. You acted like a total prick, and now you're steadfastly defending indefensible behavior. Artie should not have shown up late, but that was a mistake, not a deliberate choice. Oh, I don't know about that.
I think it was deliberate.
I agree.
Whatever it was, I apologized for it.
Well, good. Now I'm being harassed because I got tired because I'm waiting for you.
Right.
You, on the other hand,
you were there till 2 a.m.
You, on the other hand, intentionally and rudely left like a prima donna, interrupting your hostess and making a scene. If you don't apologize for this, your therapy isn't working, and you're a much bigger, more self-absorbed prick than I ever thought.
I agree with that, man.
Yeah. That was dead on. That was 100%. A+.
You think you should call Mary at least and apologize? Maybe you don't want to apologize to Gary.
I wouldn't even apologize to any of them.
I have a comment for Bubba, by the way.
Yes.
Bubba's boot camp worked so well that his own producer left his wedding to go watch a football game.
That's right. That's Bubba boot camp for you.
Bubba boot camp.
He was at Artie boot camp.
Howard Stern is a hypocrite. He should just suck it up and say he's wrong instead of trying to blame everybody and deflect mistakes other people have made. Wasn't it just a week ago he was saying that he never did anything wrong? And I agree with that statement. I never do anything wrong. You're all wrong.
That's what I'm referring to. It was like this constant narrative of Howard always doing the right thing, always taking care of people, always being generous. All these little tricks that I think he actually learned in his therapy. You know, narcissists excel in talk therapy, and it helps them sharpen their abilities to at least mimic being human.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the other thing I wanted to point out too, it seemed like some people were catching on, like I was, where it's like, wow, what a fucking absorbed prick. But like you see here, like even if you buy that all these things are the reasons why he was upset, I think he didn't want to go to begin with. I think we can all kind of agree on that. But
for sure.
Imagine like the eggshells you're on with someone when they're sparsing 5, 10, 15 minutes. And we're talking about a party, man. I get if the food's an hour and a half, 2 hours late. Sure. Yeah, personally, I'm not going to say anything because that's just not the type of person I am. But I get it in that point. Like, dude, we're talking about mincing 5, 10, 15 minutes. You're talking about eggshells. Like, a party's supposed to be a relaxed thing.
Yeah.
Here, this guy is like looking at his watch, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Like, imagine the eggshells that you're going to be on around somebody like that.
Yeah.
Like,
and what? Well, at a party like that, what's going to happen is you start 15 minutes late, but when you start is when it will actually start, and then the process will continue as scheduled, but it's just a 15-minute delay in the overall thing. It doesn't mean that 15 minutes is going to turn into a half hour with the next course is going to turn into another like an hour for the third course because of that discrepancy. It literally is we're going to push it forward 15 minutes. That's it. The machine itself will function.
15 minutes. I mean, what are we talking about here? That's nothing.
It's zero. It's absolutely nothing.
I wouldn't even think about it. Maybe at a half an hour, you're like, oh man, I'm getting hungry. 45 minutes, an hour. Let's get it going. But if I'm going to a party, even a dinner party, I went to a dinner thing, like it was like 9 courses a few weeks ago. And it was like maybe 35 minutes behind. Yeah. And I didn't even think about it, you know.
You wouldn't. You're occupied with talking, chit-chatting, listening to other conversations. You're just having some food. You're enjoying the food or the drink, and that's how time passes in those situations. So, I mean, my God, if I were Gary, like honestly, if I were Gary, knowing the way I am, well, why don't you just fuck off? If he was like this at the party, like after the fact, yeah, maybe he's putting on this big bluster. I'm sure he was a lamb at the fucking party, to be honest with you.
Dude,
like,
I think he was bad at the.
Oh, really?
I think he was way worse than they're even letting on.
Really? Okay, because I think it's like the instances where they discuss that he yelled, "Beth, come on." I believe that. I also believe the slamming of the door, all that stuff happened totally, and I believe his demeanor would have been one like, "Oh, I'm just miserable. Get me the fuck out of here." But I don't believe he gave them shit about, let's say, being 15 minutes late. Personally,
well,
he just would have shown it in different ways. Like,
remember though, narcissists, it's meta communication. It's never direct. When has Howard ever been direct in his life outside of on the microphone?
Yeah,
when he's
shadow
got
boxing.
Reinforcements. He's got his flying monkeys. He's got his backup. He's got his guy feeding him lines. That's when he's tough.
Oh yeah.
But when he doesn't have all of that, dude, that's how narcissists are. It's all meta communication. It's body language. But remember, body language is a stronger communicator, even more so than language. Like actually speaking is in a lot of cases. Most communication that you have in person is through body language. So I think that it was no secret he was very dejected.
Here's another one. You're a rude, selfish, egomaniacal bore. You act like you're the only person in the world who works and gets up early. What a total asshole. Why don't you just stay in your precious Manhattan playing chess with all your homo friends? Counting almonds and eating turkey burgers, you worthless fuck. You were wrong. Get over it. I'm afraid that Howard is on heroin. I've been listening for years, and I've always thought that Howard was a classy guy in his private life. However, the recent Gary dinner incident certainly proves that wrong. I am incredibly disappointed in Howard for not apologizing and taking it like a man. I know if I did something similar... I know if someone did something similar to he and Beth, that poor person would be cut off and never heard from again. I fully expected that today. Howard would stand up like a man, and he hasn't. It makes me fearful for his mental health.
Oh.
He's obviously under some extreme stress. I told you that. Do you think he's on the brink of a nervous breakdown? Absolutely. It'd be great for the show if Beth would come on or call and answer questions about her feelings on Howard's behavior.
Have you talked to her about the berating you're getting here? What's going on there?
She heard the first berating. It was hysterical. And then I said to her, we tried to call you on the air yesterday. And she said, I know. She goes, I was awake. I was in the shower or something. And I don't know, but I don't know why she doesn't call back.
Yeah.
We know why she doesn't fucking call back, because she knew she'd have to take more shit from you. But she now that she knows everybody's on her side, just like in the Ablo versus them clip, she's going to have that. She's going to get her fucking big balls and, put on her horseshoes, and she'll be safe.
Yeah.
So
she's got support.
Yeah.
But I think we should try again today.
Defend you.
Toby Maguire will be here today, and Gilbert Gottfried will be here today.
Oh, well, that's a nice lineup.
I'm preparing myself for the emails about never have Gilbert on again.
Oh, come on. I hate that there's one email like that.
There's the heights and the depths today.
Here's one. Uncouth. Having a dinner prepared for you by a master chef like Jean-Louis Guérin is like having Einstein come over to fill you in on relativity. I am sure Einstein would have called you a putz and walked out on your ass. I'm sure he would have. Nice job showing how little class you have. Well, who said I had class? Let that be a topic of discussion.
Well, you are always talking about how, things were classy, or, the classy move would be.
Yep, and I think I did it right.
Kevin Bacon's little classy party.
The classy move would be to stand at the door and bellow for Beth?
Okay, so here we go, guys.
Yeah.
Beth finally calls in, so that you'll get the fucking truth from, pardon the expression, the horse's mouth.
Yeah, Beth's on the phone. Hi, hon.
Hi.
Everybody's so anxious to hear you weigh in about the night at Gary and Mary's. We had a lovely time, and I called the next morning to thank him.
It was lovely.
Yeah. And what is it you guys specifically want to know?
Well, Mary got the impression that you were being dragged out against your will.
That's the story of my life. I'm always dragged out.
Were you really? Hey, wait, let's be honest.
Well, all right.
Did you not turn...
The story of my life.
Let me tell you something. Their relationship is so censored behind closed doors.
Oh, yeah.
That anytime there's a little window where she gets a little reinforcement and is halfway safe ground, she didn't even say, yeah, I was. She said, that's the story of my life.
Right. This
dude.
You just reminded me, actually, and this just reminded me, this week, Raven and I have been clipping stuff about, it's COVID related, but we can talk about it on the show because the pandemic's pretty much, past. And I mean, there might be new variants and whatnot, but people aren't as hoity-toity about it now anymore. But it's because he's talking about it on the show that he got pissed off at Robin for going to a wedding, and a week ago he started bitching at Gary for going to concerts and stuff like that and without a mask on and this, that, and the other thing. And then he got pissed off with Beth because she's going to see friends. So it's really I didn't get a chance to hear all the audio. I'm going to be clipping it today. Raven's clipped a whole bunch of stuff today, but you are going to have a fucking field day with it because it really is the depths of king baby narcissism, like NPD at his finest. It's like, berating people again for wanting to live their lives, trying to get out of a pandemic and get their fucking heads straight. And
if you want me to be on it, I'd love to hear the further descent.
Well, we'll send you the finished product, which is going to be me and Raven because there's so many clips. If there's 3 of us, it'll be a 4-hour show. So we're going to try to just go right through it. But I definitely want you to hear that episode before we release it. So And then you can comment on it next time you're on a show, and that way you have completely unfettered, with you can even make notes about it if you like. We can do that.
I want to hear this.
And because there's going to be more down the pike, because he's still referencing like Robin, you're recovering, you're still recovering, which they don't ever talk too much about her health issues.
Yeah.
And so I don't know it could be bullshit. He could be talking about something that was in her past, and who knows. Anyway, we'll continue.
Didn't you mean in the car and say, that's why I love you? I don't want you to go home?
I said, you know why I love you is that you are able to leave a party like that in the middle of a party and people don't say anything. It's almost like you're God and you leave the party and people accept it.
Thank you, Ben.
That was not what he was saying.
No,
we
you
get it.
said you love me because you wanted to get out too.
He's the savior.
Tell the
What is she saying? She said, no, I said it like, you know why I love you, because is she being sarcastic or what?
She's amazed, I think. She's saying, I'll replay it so you can hear it again.
Yeah.
The impression I get is she's saying it like, it's amazing that something that would get someone uninvited to future parties, you're able to leave places whenever you want, like leaving early, and you do get invited back when normally most people would be like, fuck him, don't ever come back. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. So, and he, of course, he's got to change the narrative. Let me just go put it back just a tad.
You know why I love you is that you are able to leave a party like that in the middle of a party and people don't say anything. It's almost like you're God and you leave the party and people accept it.
Thank you, Ben.
That was not what he was saying.
No,
we
you
get it.
said you love me because you wanted to get out too.
He's the savior.
Tell the truth. You were tired.
The truth. I thought it was. I didn't think twice about it. I mean, I thought it was rude as we were leaving.
See,
of course.
That's what we do. That's what I look over next to you, and believe me, people should be glad that you know when it's time to leave, or else you're miserable and you bring everything down. So it's
Oh God.
So and you heard him go on like Ray, like no, that's not the truth. So she's poking holes in the fucking reality, in his reality, and he doesn't like it. So there was probably some blowback when she got some blowback when he got back home.
Oh, without question.
Yeah,
without question, there was.
She clearly felt that she could do this though, because pretty much everybody agreed with that he was wrong, and he is. So
yeah, and it's on the show where he'll be open, and she's got reinforcements, and she's able to kind of speak about it. It's just there's so much there's so much mental gymnastics here, because she's trying to say something without saying something, without going against the narrative, I'm just trying to read that. There's just a lot of mental gymnastics, but she might just be coming out and telling the truth. Like, we left in the middle of this thing. Most people wouldn't do that. And I didn't want to leave. She didn't even say like we left early. She said we left in the middle of the party.
Right.
Like, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
And it's always such a downer when someone leaves early or they go to bed early. I feel like it just leaves like a weird scent on the night. You know what I mean? Like,
it depends what it is. Like, if you tell, like, I've always gone to great lengths to tell hosts of any party, if I have to leave early for whatever reason, I tell them in advance. And I say, listen, I'm totally dropping by, but I got to leave early because I got to take my mom to the airport, something like that. And most people are 99.9% of the people totally get it, and they appreciate that you're giving them that advance notice. He just up and leaves.
No, I'm saying like it's almost like if you're out and you're with your guys and like you're watching a game and everybody gets wings and burgers and like one of your friends gets a fucking salad or something. And you're like, why did you get that? Can you just get wings?
That sounds like
now I'm like, no, it's just like they left early and you're like, oh, like, I don't know. It casts a shadow for me kind of sometimes on the night. It's almost like when the first person leaves, it's almost like the signal that the party's winding down and you don't have the same commitment to it. And I don't know.
Typically, but I can tell you personally, I've never had a problem being the first one to leave a party because I've been to so many where people don't know that it is time. Like, and I said they're all afraid to leave. I'm not. I'll leave so they can start. Because someone has to, and the hosts don't want to end it, but they want to end it, but they don't want to tell people it's time for you to fucking go.
Dude, it was my birthday yesterday. I had some people stay here way too fucking late.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get it. Like, I think it's cool when there's like an extreme thing where it's just like, hey, I got to be up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or I got work, or, I worked all day. If there's like a viable reason, but when it's like I'm leaving because I'm tired or it's like, oh.
Lame.
Okay.
Super lame. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like it casts a weird shadow on the rest of the night for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too sensitive though.
While you're in the limo, wash your pussy.
Wow. Because you were so exhausted. Your eyes were rolling to the back of your head. And I'm like, I know that look. And I just looked at you and you go, I have to leave. And that's when we left.
And weren't you happy to leave, though?
Because I knew that I would have to keep you awake and worry about you. But I was actually having a really great conversation with Gary and Mary, and I could have definitely stayed longer.
Are you telling the truth that you weren't sort of ready to go?
AKA, no, I wanted to stay.
Yeah,
but
why
I didn't
not?
want to deal with you crying like a little fucking baby boy like you are.
Yes.
I didn't want to deal with that. Little baby Howie's going to cry the whole way home if I don't leave early.
That's right. That's a little bitch.
God.
Slender man with an alarm clock constantly strapped to his chest.
Sad man. I saw the eyes going in the back of your head. What are you talking about? He was sitting there like rolling his eyes. What a fucking lame, dude.
Yeah. That
79.
There's no way he took his sunglasses off for that fucking dinner. There's no way.
Sloucho the sad man.
I just realized, I just came up with the other day, he could be Sloucho Marx, but he could also be Dumbo Marx.
Just be the slouch.
Yeah.
Who'd kind of been talked down.
Beating her.
Because I didn't get this impression.
She just said what she was thinking.
To go in regarard to you. I know that it's time for us to go when you're fading.
Oh.
That's the truth.
All right, well, then I stand corrected. I thought you wanted to go as well.
It had nothing. It never has anything to do with me. It's always but it's fine. It's what you were ready to go.
She had a boyfriend who used to keep her things way too long, and she was miserable in that relationship.
But honey, leaving a party at 10 o'clock is different than staying out till 4 in the morning.
Dude, no, she didn't. No, she made that up because she knows that it's an insecurity of yours. Women want to stay out and have fun. There was no guy that kept her out too long. She made that up because she knows Howard doesn't like being out late. That's a made-up guy. That's a made-up. I guarantee you it's made up.
But then she just said right now, like the guy you're talking about kept me out until 4 and 5 a.m., not leaving at 10 o'clock.
Well, exactly, but still, that guy never existed.
No.
Beth would have stayed out till 4 a.m.
Oh,
she would have stayed out till 3 a.m. She likes to party. Women like to go out and have fun. Like,
yeah, especially when they're turning tricks. Fuck, though, there's no clock. The clock is off when you want to go around the world with, the Pittsburgh princess.
Medium.
See, yeah, he's missing the whole thing.
No, I'm not
and
missing
Artie
it.
has been saying this to you since the day of the party.
But I have to say Howard was correct in leaving at that time for his sake and everyone else's sake, or he would have just been a nightmare and miserable.
He could.
oh, no. Nothing's better than going out with a time bomb. Any moment. Eggshells the whole time. When is this fucking nuke gonna go off, man?
The person's walking around. You just hear fucking
dude.
Unbelievable.
She's going. He spared you guys. You don't even know he was gonna shit all over that place.
I saved your night. I took the bubonic plague with me back in the limo, and we infected
honestly,
the
that's what
rest
she's
of,
saying.
Pretty much, yeah. I took Hurricane Sandy and put it away in a box for me to open when we got to the house.
I had a boyfriend that kept me out too late. Yeah, I love to leave at 10. That's the equivalent of a girl going, your dick is fine. My last boyfriend's dick was so big it just hurts. That's what that made up thing is that she just told Howard.
Yeah, pretty much.
There was no guy that kept her out too late, man. I've never seen that.
No way.
Yes, what is he, a baby? He couldn't last 15 minutes more?
Well, he was exhausted all day. He was up the night before worrying about this stupid chess tournament.
See, that's the thing. He's not sleeping because he's worried about chess.
I have a life. This is an alpha male.
Sounds like a baby. His dad let him stay up way too late the night before, and he's real fussy today. Like, what a fucking bitch, man.
Yeah.
Total beta, this guy.
Completely.
I have a life. You have no life.
You see, I'm glad Beth called to defend herself because you were making it sound like, I mean, Beth would never be that rude as to say, God, I want to leave.
And Artie said, I know Beth, and this does not sound like Beth.
See, I was worried about a chess tournament, and you were worried about Monday's show that you had a tickle in your throat.
What do you mean? Monday's show is not something to worry about?
You're full of shit.
You can say I'm full of shit all you want.
You're just full of it.
But the truth is, that's what was going on for me.
No.
You made up a whole lie.
I was worried about Monday's show. I didn't make up a lie.
You made up a whole lie that Beth was ready to go. And
no,
she
I didn't
was
say
not.
that.
You took her by the hair and dragged her out.
I said that she was happy to go as well.
Yes, because she knew you'd be miserable and she'd have to worry about
I
you.
never heard that before.
Honey, I'm happy to go wherever you are. That's the bottom line.
I didn't realize I was dragging you. I think, you know what? There's going to be a change made now.
Oh, no.
That's
now
lucky.
Stop that.
The change is going to be...
We're teasing you.
You're going to see how long I stay at things, and we'll see who drags who out.
Here you go, going to extremes again.
Oh, yeah.
Is that me for being honest about my feelings here?
Howard, she's not saying she was happy. She was happy.
She was happy to go.
Emotional censorship, man.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about behind the scenes. Are you saying I can't express my feelings? Are you saying I can't feel this way? Like, this is what happens with NPD and their sources behind the scenes. And I will say something else. On a very rare occasion, I actually believe Robin to the extent that she knew Howard was going, and she maybe had something minor, and she was probably like, I don't even want to fucking hear about it from this guy. But if he wasn't going, she may have gone to it. I think she may have had something going on and just didn't want to deal with, like, if I show up with a cough, I'll hear about it all fucking. This is how you think with these people because of their eggshell. Like, this is, you really think this far ahead.
Yes,
and
it's like a chess match. You have to figure out what am I doing now that could possibly piss him off if he finds out about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And hence that's why I just mentioned about the COVID stuff, because they were like, Robin says, I got to live my life. What little is left of it, basically.
That's why I believe Robin would have gone, because she has a pretty decent track record of enjoying going to these types of social things and having a master chef there. I mean, I'm sure she'd want to brag about that to anyone she could and rave about the food. And I mean, I'd love to go eat from a master chef. I don't really even know what that is, but it sounds awesome, you know. So
I've had one. I did go to one thing like this, and the food is fantastic. But I'm saying, after the end of it, you want to go to get a fucking double Whopper like at Burger King, because you're just not. It's not about filling yourself up. It's about enjoying the look of the food and tasting it. But it's too shishy for me. I love rustic stuff. I'll go to an Italian restaurant or a Thai restaurant any day of the week over these MasterChef bullshit things.
Yeah, I just went to one a few weeks ago, and it was like 9 or 8 courses, and I'd never been to something like that. And I was full by the end of it, but it was, definitely a different. I'll go to like a Cuban spot. Like, I would have been happy with that for probably a tenth of the amount that was spent on me that night. My company took me out, but I'm kind of with you on that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
It's also about being casual, like being able to let your, pardon the expression, hair down. I don't have any, but either way, you go and you just kind of relax and chill, whatever. I'd prefer to go to an Indian joint over any of these kind of, she places. Not that I can't go to those places. I can do it, but it ain't a preference. It's not even a...
It's cool. It was a cool thing to do. I don't need to do it again.
That's
totally.
it. Yeah.
She went to sleep in the car. She was so exhausted. Yes, she did.
You were reading that chess book, and I was sitting there looking out the window.
She was bored with you.
Why didn't you put a 9-inch dildo like Heather? Did you hear that?
You haven't.
Now listen to this part. He's gonna go into this fucking deviant bullshit with Bubba and his wife pleasuring herself with a fucking dildo in the passenger seat of the car that they're in, whatever. And he's gonna bring it up to Beth as if to, I don't know, like slut shame her or say like, you know, why don't you do this? You're not enough of a woman. This is how he's trying to debase her in this call.
Yeah. Devalue.
Yeah, total. You got to listen for the intricacies, guys. It's not. I mean, it's not like a master. It's not like a master fucking theoretical scientist figuring this stuff out. But you know what I mean.
Driver. Bubba's doing the driving.
Well, so what?
Get your head out of Bubba's situation's more dangerous.
You got to hear this, honey.
What?
Heather.
Yeah.
Heather was in the car the other night with Bubba.
Yeah.
She took off all her clothes and took a 9-inch dildo.
Wow, that's impressive.
Played with herself in front of him.
Wow.
To turn him on.
She was carrying the dildo in her purse.
Is this a hint?
Yeah, I think that's kind of hot that like she's mixing it up.
Oh, this is mean.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I thought that was kind of hot.
Well, you know you're being rude again.
Good for them. Good for Bubba. That's wonderful.
Could you imagine, Beth, that I'd probably throw her out of the car? I'd be so scared.
You wouldn't even look up from your chess book, I guarantee.
I know, I'd be like, what are you doing?
I'm reading my chess book. Now stop it.
I love what Sam said. She said, if I'm leaving early with someone in a limo, I'm probably going to fuck them. That's why we're leaving so early. Like, he's in there with a chess book, and she's staring out the window.
Yeah, and I think I said, wow, what a turn-on night. You left a party early to ride back with a guy reading a chess book. I mean, if that doesn't scream sex appeal and dildo masturbation and spontaneity and like, bro, what are you talking about? You start reading a fucking chess book. Why would she whip out a dildo?
Could have been a gardening book at that rate. You got to make sure you write this down for that prospective episode you want to do as one of those things like what if what if,
I have it noted.
Okay.
True.
I'd actually be like, uh-oh.
You know,
I think there's something wrong with
people
her.
grow older, you get more sophisticated. I mean, I think it's just evolution. I think it's, you know.
Well, hey, I'm sorry if I dragged you out.
You owe her an apology. Stop it.
It's clear. I am happy where you are. If it's time for you to leave, I want to be with you.
Okay.
I'm not being dragged out. It's what you do when you go to parties. There's a point where you just...
She just said... she just completely... like rescinded the whole that's the story of my life, getting dragged out. And now she go, you never drag me out, because she knows she has to placate King fucking Farouk.
She sounds like she's been kidnapped.
Yes.
I am telling you, I want to be with you. Like, that does not sound convincing. That sounds like someone who's panicked.
Mom and Dad, I'm fine. I have bread and water. They're not mistreating me. They haven't started.
I'm being held at 30-14. Yeah, exactly. Like,
I still have all my fingers and toes.
She called up. She was super casual. Oh fuck! It's the story of my life now. It's Howard. I am telling you. I like her tone has totally changed because she knows that. Oh man, Howard's little fake illusion. Like, God forbid that these fucking MPD people like. God forbid someone's like, dude, it's not cool to leave a party 5 hours early.
You just fade completely. And that is the point that I know that it's time for you to leave. And I want to be with you. So if we have to leave, I have to leave a wonderful party. It's what my life is.
But admit you were not too thrilled with the meat course. And we were like, well,
I told you left because of that meat.
Not me. I left for Beth.
I was looking forward to Mary's desserts, and Mary saw you stand up and see us about to leave, so she ran to the kitchen and packed. I felt bad about that, too. I mean, we disrupted her sitting there.
Right.
Was he yelling for you to hurry up?
Oh, yeah.
So completely busted. Completely busted by your fucking beard. And what I wonder is, did she hear all this stuff on the show before she started answering all this? Like, did she hear the full tirade and say, now I can get back at this fucking stick cocksucker?
Well, I'm sure it bothered Beth too. I mean, I'm sure Beth didn't like. Beth's associated with him. Yeah. You know, if you're with your wife and she causes a whole scene and whatever, it's like, well, you're kind of tied to her, even if you don't do anything. Yeah, I'm sure she didn't appreciate it. Mm-hmm. But I don't think she was really lumped in with it. But again, you kind of don't have a choice when you're married to somebody. You're going to always have that association. True. And it's like, dude, like I said before, like this. Mary worked on these desserts all day. You ate it in the limo like a fucking McDonald's apple pie, you know? Like, that's so disrespectful, man. You're sending a message with that. There's a certain level where you're just like, that's not, you wanted to leave early. Like, you sent a message like, never invite me to this thing again. I don't respect you. I didn't want to be here.
Yeah. Fuck you and your food and your house and your wife and your kids and everything else. Exactly. Yeah.
She wasn't crazy about the meat. I mean, dude, it's a master chef. Come on. It couldn't have been that bad.
Imagine they had to call out.
Probably the opposite.
Chinese, because you didn't want to eat that shit.
Yeah. Howard wanted ketchup with the steak.
Oh, I can't. I mean, I tried to say my goodbyes, and then I'm sitting in the car worried about who I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to.
No, because Beth was being rude by keeping Mary tied up in the kitchen.
Oh, God.
I was concerned.
You are too funny.
I wanted to get out. I wanted to make a quick getaway.
Boy, you're good.
See, I'm glad Beth did it because, you know, it sends the wrong message to Gary and Mary. You made it sound like Beth was like, oh, thank God you made me leave that party.
I
when it's not
that.
the case.
Well, Mary said she knew that was not the case.
Hey.
Yeah, no, it was very obvious that I was trying to prolong my stay.
All right.
And
I
Howard's
pick up
bellowing at the front door.
All you had to say to me is, I want to stay a little longer.
What's
Bellowing.
That? It's a great word.
I gotta kick out of that. Fucking Robin loves it when Howard, like, there's certain times you catch these people where they just can't. They're out in the open. They're no, and she's just like, Howard's fucking bellowing. You know she's loving this shit. Oh yeah, like this dude. Robin knows him, man. She really does. I've learned this through doing this show, and I really think that's why he keeps her. Like, she's such a kindred spirit to him. She just knows what he's thinking. Because she's a total narcissist.
Yeah, but he can't be appreciating her piling on him. In this situation.
No, he doesn't. But he doesn't. Howard doesn't have friends, so he doesn't know that this isn't how people act. He's never had a friend in his life, dude.
Friend tutor needs. Jesus Christ.
Friend tutor.
So I would have been there.
Honey, I was not going to stay. The state that you were in would not have been fun for me to sit there and worry about you and how you were exhausted.
Yeah, I was. If I sat in that chair another 5 minutes, I was going to hang myself.
He wakes up.
Listen to this. The state he was in. You guys are at a Master Chef dinner party. What state? What did he do that day?
Connecticut.
The state you were in was like, did he just come off of like a 40-day fast? Like, what state, dude?
Yeah, exactly. State of New York, man. Damn. State of mind. Fucking Jesus. State of shock. Fuck, I don't know what it is.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, he runs 6 miles. He's on the phone with his kids. He's dealing with this and that, everything. The guy's exhausted every single day.
Yeah, but he could take a nap when he's, instead of looking at that chess
I took a nap.
You were up at from like 2 thinking about a chess tournament.
No. He was. That's true, too.
That's true.
On top of everything.
I mean, sorry. I was.
She's owned up Beth in a position where she wants to please everybody there. That's the type of person she is. So she's trying to please you by leaving. She's trying to please Mary by making sure it's not rude that they're...
You know what? That's such a key word when you're talking about a hooker. Mm-hmm. Her job is to please people. And that's exactly what You know, let's face it, that's what a lot of people think Beth is. And yeah, she's got to placate everybody. When you say walking on eggshells, it's walking on hot coals, man. It's walking on, it's chicken on a hot plate with these two fucking idiots.
She has a personality it really is like a narcissist dream.
Yeah.
But he runs 4 to 6 miles every morning. No, he doesn't.
I don't buy it.
He doesn't, man. And then her next thing was he talks on the phone to his kids. Is that exhausting? What's exhausting about that?
It's exhausting to act like you care on the phone about what they're doing.
Exactly. Like when I talk to my brother or sister, I'm pumped I feel good afterwards.
Yeah, it's totally great.
Yeah. I don't walk away and go, fuck, man. I just talked to my brother like I'm done for the day. It's like, oh, great. I talked to Vinny today. He's doing great.
Yeah.
It's not a chore
Atlas
for me.
With the fucking world on his shoulders.
It's only a chore if you hate the fucking person that you're talking to. Like,
well, his kids, he hates them. I mean, that's a drain on that will. Exactly. So
she said he runs 6 miles a day and talks to his kids on the phone. Like like he works in a coal mine or something.
His will must look like the first flap of your yearbook where there's all these scribbles and shit. Like,
yeah.
In, out, 50% less, $5,000 less. I'm going to give this one a little more. She was nicer to me this year. That his ledger, honestly, it must be massive. The amount of, if you can see a history of adjustments in his will, it must be like reading. It must be like reading. I don't know, Ben-Hur. It must be like reading fucking War and Peace.
Okay, so you know how I called it with his parents. You've said that I called that right. I'll tell you this: after they die, what you were just talking about, it's gonna be a thing. He's gonna start focusing on his will and his death, and you're gonna hear more about this kid getting more. That he's gonna start doing that, man.
Really? Because he doesn't talk about his kids outside of talking about Ashley because she's a nurse and helping out her grandparents. Basically, you've not heard tell of the kids mostly in the last 5 years.
You're gonna start hearing about it.
Really?
Because they always tell on themselves.
Okay,
and they always have an agenda.
Okay, you want to put a little gentleman's bet, like maybe I don't know, an extra large meat lovers or something, in wherever you want to order it from.
I'll bet it. I'll bet it without question. I think he's going to start talking about. He's going to start bringing up Will. He's going to start bringing up which kids he's closer to, which ones he isn't. Like, that's how he's going to start teasing it. And he's going to talk about, I'm thinking about putting most of it in Emily's, or I don't know. I don't even know their names. He talks about them so little. So I know Emily and is Deborah another one? I literally don't even know their names.
You know what it is? It really is like that picture in the Back to the Future when it's the siblings start disappearing. It's his kids in the picture start disappearing the longer he goes. So I'll give you this. I'll even sweeten the thing. I'll order your pizza for you from here. The first mention where he starts talking about Will and kids. Well, I'll make it that simple. I won't even make it like, we won't even qualify like, oh, how many times does he do it? The first time he starts talking about it, it's yours.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When he started talking about his parents' will and having control over his parents and inheritance, who did he start talking about?
His sister.
How often did he talk about her before?
Oh, and back in the day, reasonably often, and sometimes she would call in, but for the longest time, no. I mean, unless they were doing like a history of Howard Stern, and they have to bring up certain things about his childhood. Yeah, generally you wouldn't hear from her. I never
heard he was talking about bringing her on the show and interviewing her, and so I never heard anything like that about his sister. That's why I'm saying I get where you're coming from. You're like, he never talks about his kids. He doesn't, but he will if he starts thinking about his own death, which mortality. He's going to right after his parents start to die. He's going to start thinking about his own, and he's going to start thinking about his will, and he's going to start playing games with it. He's going to start favoring kids. He's going to start thinking about who's getting what. I think he will on the air because that's where he feels his most extroverted and comfortable talking about shit, it seems like. So that's my theory.
Okay. So this is a bet I can never really win unless he goes off the air without ever once talking about it. So I'm really playing the long game here.
Well, you made the bet. I didn't make the bet.
I did, but I'm pretty sure he won't because he's got a grandchild. He's still the kid's probably walking now, and he still hasn't brought up the fact that he's a grandfather.
But see, it's going to change when his parents die, man. I'm telling you, a lot of stuff's going to change.
We might have to wait a long while for that to happen, even though they are in their fucking 90s or late 80s.
I can't believe it. God bless them. They will not go.
No, they're like a Swiss Army knife. They just you can't snap them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaving
She's trying to say goodbye to everybody.
I guess I was wrong to leave early. What can I say? I have to admit it. I
have to say that for Howard to actually get in the car, travel to this party was in itself like a victory. I mean, for me, I couldn't even believe we were actually going to go and do this because it takes so much out of him to actually.
Oh, please. Beth was saying to me before the party, gee, I wish we were just going to dinner, the two of us.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
You see, he throws everybody under the bus, Beth. It's just terrible. It's just
She's
terrible.
making it sound like I'm the dick. I was like, this is going to, and I had to give her a lecture. I said, this is going to be fun. We're going to have a good time.
You're too funny.
Am I right or am I wrong?
No one buys it. No one bought it. And when this did come out, I really wish we had done this a lot earlier, but in a way, I'm glad we waited because of the backlog of stuff we do, illustrating his just completely appalling, shitty behavior on every level, like gifts, guests, appearances, talk shows, whatever entails a Howard experience. And then this, which really shows, this should be the most relaxing, the coolest thing where you get to hang with your coworkers and just chill and have a great meal and enjoy, the outdoors somewhere and just relax and let yourself go. But he could never fucking do that because he just didn't want to go. But, a real employer would fucking love it because it's just to boost morale, like we said.
I do it with my company.
Yeah.
I mean, we do it all the time. But the thing that I think this illustrates and what makes being the primary source so brutal when you're in a relationship with someone with MPD is like you're the fall guy. You're the reason for any criticism, anything going wrong all the time. Like, look at what he's doing to her right now. He's like, she didn't want to go. She wanted to just go out to dinner. Like, they don't buy it, because they know him. But if you were a stranger and someone was saying that to you, you might believe him if you don't know better. You might be like, oh, okay, the girlfriend didn't want to go, or the wife or whatever she is at this time. Like, all right, I get it. It happens. But it's so brutal because you have to bear the brunt of all their negativity, even from other people, like they want you to always deal with that and assume those things for them, like they're whipping boy kind of.
Completely.
I knew.
Beth, no one believes it.
Swear on Jesus' life swear on Jesus' life if I'm lying.
Honey, you are lying.
Oh, I swear on Jesus' life.
God help us, Jesus. God and baby Jesus help us.
Jesus is dead.
She wasn't looking forward to it either.
Oh, my goodness.
How is that supposed to make Gary feel?
I was looking forward to it.
This is how rude he is. Now he's compounding his rudeness.
He's got no credibility left. He's insulted Fred for something he did 12 years ago. He's insulted Artie, Robin, my wife.
We've all been
Hope, anybody who was on the road.
A mistake.
There was room we didn't think there was room under the bus for one person to be thrown, but it turns out it was.
God, love the baby gorilla.
That's a great
Mary
line.
under the bus. That was the height. Now he's throwing Beth.
Mary was wrong. Mary should never have gotten up and given Beth dessert.
He said Mary was wrong for getting up to give you dessert.
Honey, I love you. I miss you.
I miss you too. Well, now I have to ask you. My parents are going to have an engagement party for us in Pittsburgh with family. Would you take that trip, or are you going to leave early?
First of all,
there's no way he's going.
That's too far for me to go.
Really, that was all lip service. They're not really doing that.
No, they're for real.
Well, who do we know in Pittsburgh?
Well, that's like they went.
Who do we know?
Who do we know? Isn't all of her family there?
Who can we star fucking Pittsburgh? Evgeny Malkin?
No, I'm not kidding. The Pittsburgh Penguins? Isn't her whole family from there?
Yeah, pretty much.
What does he mean? Who do we know? They know her whole family.
That was the first thing out of his mind. Like, who can we fucking hang with there? Not your family. Other than your family. Who's worth going to Pittsburgh for?
Does he wind up going to Pittsburgh? I remember this was like a thing.
Supposedly he did. I'll have to look through the archives, but supposedly he did. I can't believe that. But I think.
I don't believe it either.
He had to be put up at a hotel, of course, and even the hotel wasn't good enough because it's Pittsburgh. 5 stars is not, 5 stars in New York because he's such a fucking New York snob, even though he's never seen the city.
He probably had to be like helicoptered in and carried out of the helicopter on a stretcher into his room.
Like if you put him in the middle of, I don't know, Union Square in like a New York fucking subway, he'd probably start crying.
Absolutely, he would.
Like he'd look around,
so overwhelmed.
He'd look around like he was in the middle of a stadium, like at the Pontiac Silverdome, and where's the exit?
When we started doing this and I was like deep diving on him, I used to live in a neighborhood called Humboldt Park on North Avenue. It's where I lived when I was younger. And I thought to myself, I wonder what would happen if Howard just walked down the street, I wonder what he would do. I wonder what other people would do. It would just be such it'd be such an outlier, I just feel like he'd be so freaked out and people wouldn't know why he was there.
Yep.
I don't know. I've actually had that thought a couple of times. What would he do on North Avenue back in the 2000s?
Like I said, cry. Probably where am I? What am I doing? What? There's no exploratory instincts, nothing, no direction. You're not going to look at the sun and go, well, that's east, so this has got to be north. He'd be going, what is that glowing thing in the sky? What's this mysterious ray?
He would be so afraid. He'd be so lost. He would just.
Yeah. I'm looking desperately for that clip of Robin saying he was driving around Manhattan and started crying because he got lost.
I can't believe he doesn't know how to get it. They acknowledged he didn't know how to get from his apartment to Sirius after 10 years,
which is a block away.
Dude, you would think they don't want to be responsible for anything.
Nothing.
Even on I can't stress this enough. If they could have someone breathe for them, they would.
I bet you Ray ran to kindergarten to go cut up his food and serve it to him for lunch. I when he was 5 years old. I guarantee
Absolutely.
it. And I guarantee he probably shit and pissed his pants many times just to get her there because he was upset. And that's the only way to get mommy or daddy down up to fucking take care of you faster than because you're needed,
No black guys beat this dude up regularly because he wouldn't be this way if they did. He got punched one time by a Polish kid.
That's right.
And that was it. That was all that happened. If this dude got beaten up every day by black kids, he wouldn't be this way, man. I'm telling you.
All of a sudden, he's the main star in South Central.
Not that.
Boys in the Hood.
He wouldn't be so afraid. He wouldn't be afraid of everything the way he is, if you've been beaten down by people all the time, you're not afraid of stuff.
No, you end up becoming a little bit harder or completely fragile. I don't know. I imagine it's the former because if you know what the experience is like, you get a little toughened. You go fuck that. I'm never going to have that happen again. Fuck that. But I'll die before I let that happen.
But it's even. I don't believe you get softer because if it does happen on a regular basis, you start even if you're getting beaten up, and I'm talking about someone. I used to ride a bus to school and a lot of the stops was public housing, and it was black kids. And but I wouldn't say I was beaten up every day, but it was like you're at some point I was definitely harassed, and I was called some shit I still laugh about to this day. I think it was the funniest insults ever, but you mentally start to realize, like, I have to overcome this. Yeah. Like, I have to either make a joke, or I have to be relatable, or I have to be not afraid. Yeah. And, like, you cross that bridge at some point if it's happening every day. And I went through that every day. Again, I wouldn't say that I was beaten up every day. It was never like that. But it was, like, rough. It was a rough bus ride for sure. I mean, I laugh it still to this day. But it was like there was a point where it was like, you either figure this out or you don't. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, I've never been to prison, but, like, it's almost like you either figure this out mentally or you go into protective custody. And I really don't believe that Howard was beaten up every day, because he just doesn't have the humility. He doesn't have the tools. He never figured out how, like, dude, a guy that was beaten up every day by gangs of kids can't figure out how to be at a party for 2 more hours. I don't believe that. I don't believe he was beaten up. I think he was punched one time by a Polish kid, as he said, and that probably scared him. And I think his parents, shortly after that happened, made arrangements to leave Roosevelt. I don't ever believe he was beaten up by black. And the way he described it's so stereotypical too, like in his movie, saying they all have rhinoceros penises. Like, dude, if you're sitting around a locker room staring at guys' dicks, you're gonna get hit in the face for sure, dude. That's weird. Especially back then, when they're clearly gonna suss you out as being a little pustada. So anyway, let's try to get through. Tangent. No worries.
The family.
Yes, they want you to get to know the family.
Wait a second.
Manny Sandian.
Honey, what are you saying? What kind of party?
My sweet pea, whom you've never met, and my uncle.
I would go
to Pittsburgh, and
can we leave early?
Tell him the plan, and he just said he would go.
Your dad is a man's man. He doesn't want to have any engagement party.
He asked me last night. He was serious.
He doesn't want it.
He feels like he's supposed to be doing something. I think.
Yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah. Tell him it's okay.
But let him do something if he wants to do something.
He doesn't want. He's getting pressured into it.
Oh, stop it.
I know the whole story. You don't know the backstory.
All right.
Our old man doesn't want to be having any engagement.
Artie called this out on the Ablo show. He said, you're telling her what her dad doesn't want to do, as if you have any connection to him.
Dude, a man's man wants to throw his daughter an engagement party.
Absolutely.
A man's man loves their daughter, wants to do things for them and be a father. Yeah. He doesn't understand what that means. He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
No way.
No, man's man. He's never known a man's man.
He'll do whatever he can to get away from not having to go to fucking Pittsburgh. That's it. That's the lay of the land.
He doesn't want to go. He doesn't care about her.
Yeah.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
I miss you. I'm coming back today.
Yeah, hurry up. You know?
If her dad calls you and tells you he wants to do it, will you do it?
He doesn't have my number.
I bet you're still in the Berg.
I'm in Pittsburgh. It's so beautiful here. I love it here.
You do?
Well, what part of Pittsburgh is that? I got to go see it.
Pittsburgh is an underrated city. The bridges, I love Pittsburgh.
I want to go to Pittsburgh, actually. I want to see where Beth lives.
I spend a lot of time in Pittsburgh. Some of my best friends are there.
June 29th, I'm at Heinz Hall.
I
like Pittsburgh.
I want to see where she grew up and all that stuff. So
it's a cool town. Cool working class. Big Howard Stern town, too, man.
It was just voted most livable city.
Really?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like, when I lived in Hartford, I had some of the best times there. It was such a nice lifestyle, quiet and calm. I liked it. I mean, everyone thinks, like, Manhattan. I live in Manhattan because I work here.
Manhattan is a jungle.
Yeah.
He's at Hartford. Was it Hartford where he just literally stayed in the hotel and didn't do anything until he had to go to work?
I think he did that in Detroit, Hartford, and D.C.
Yeah.
He tells on himself. He's like, everyone's like Manhattan. No, dude, that's you. You are too good to go to Pittsburgh. Yes. Like, that's why everyone else is like, dude, Pittsburgh's a pretty cool spot. Yeah. I'm doing a gig there. I got friends there. I got, it's because he's too good to go. That's why he's saying that right now.
Right.
I don't know that I'd live here.
Well, I mean, Manhattan's so much fun.
No, but it's difficult. It's difficult. When we lived in Washington, I thought that was the most livable city.
Really?
I agree. That was
Really?
fun. Yeah, great town.
Well, any East Coast sort of sports-oriented working-class town, and Pittsburgh's the epitome of that, you know.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh gets a bad rap because it's Pittsburgh, but...
The steel mills and everything, those are gone.
Yeah, they've been through some tough times there.
It's beautiful now. It's beautiful.
Look, her dad could have lived anywhere. He's a medical doctor, I mean...
He was a dentist, and he got caught for fraud.
A medical doctor. Could have lived anywhere.
Right.
What do you mean?
He's got busted for claims fraud, and
I know, but a dentist isn't some prestigious thing where it's he could go anywhere in the world.
Right,
he's
exactly.
A dentist. I don't know. It's he's Elon Musk. He could go anywhere. Elon Musk can go anywhere. A dentist.
Yeah, exactly.
A
massage therapist is not a PhD necessarily.
No, it is.
Yeah. Right?
No.
They might know how to do it, but no.
He's a dentist.
I thought he was a dentist.
Well, no, he's not a dentist.
Oral surgeon. Okay.
Yeah, he's better than a dentist.
Well, why do you have to qualify?
I wouldn't be marrying a girl whose father's a dentist. Has to be an oral surgeon.
No dentist is good enough for
And
me.
I'll tell you, PNC Park, I went to the All-Star game last year. That's one of the best stadiums on earth.
I haven't been there yet, but supposedly it's so beautiful.
Oh, you got to go. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, didn't you and John Hines spend a wonderful afternoon there?
Me and John shoved a lot of food down our fat faces, though.
Any dudes hit on you while you were down there?
No.
By the way, I love that story when they went to All-Star Weekend and Artie kept eating and eating and eating. That's such a funny story.
People kept sending him drinks.
They were giving him drinks. He walked by someone and saw a couple they were eating pizza. He's like, "Where'd you get that?" He had to get those and then fries, and that was so funny, man.
Gary was saying that people would come up to him and they'd mention people, and he was supposed to know who they are. So they'd go, "Hey, Artie, so and so says hi." And Artie would say, good kid.
Oh, my favorite line was Artie goes, man, God bless the Midwest. He goes, the French fries were the size of canoes. He's like, dude, I'm not kidding. The fries were the size of canoes. He's like, the woman that was serving me was bigger than I was.
He says, when I go to certain parts of the Midwest, I'm consistently the smallest person there. He was great.
I've just been with my mom and dad, and I did that interview with Sally Wiggin from the news, who's doing a story on me. So it's just been work and family.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I miss you. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah, me too. I'm very, very...
Can't wait to leave at dinner with you early again.
Oh. Yeah. I'm going to try and book some dinners this weekend where we can leave early. You want to know something, though? This is so consistent with us because we go out to dinner on the weekends, and we make a 7 o'clock reservation because we want to eat early, and then by 6 o'clock we go, and we're in bed by 8 o'clock.
You know what, I knew we were in trouble at Gary's when you started drinking as soon as we got there, and you drank the wine like it was water.
That's what did me in.
Well, yeah, but you're the master of, moderation, and then you blew it.
Honestly, you want to know what happens?
What?
It was a cocktail hour, and they were serving a lot of hors d'oeuvres, and it was nice stuff.
Drinking, eating.
Well, what I did was I kind of didn't want to eat too many hors d'oeuvres because I knew this big dinner was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I started drinking the wine, but I'm hungry. And I start to drink
to
fill
not
up.
eat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your mistake always.
And I got so sleepy from it.
See, then if you have your big meal while you're drunk, after that, you're done.
Yeah. And then I kept drinking during the dinner because they had all these wines, and the wine guy was carrying on. So I fucked up. I mean, I guess. I just got really super...
Dude, he's not drinking like that, man.
No, he's not. It's all bullshit.
He totally fucking lies about... I know this personality too well, and I know how control freakish they are. You see he's looking at 15 minutes this, 15 minutes that. You think someone who's drinking and drunk is remembering the times of...
Yeah.
When the... No, man. He's... I hate it when he talks about how drunk he's getting. He's not drunk, man.
Yeah,
never was.
he always makes it like he's fucking Jackie Gleason, and then meanwhile you know that he had a glass of wine, maybe.
Yeah, I don't even know. I would say half at most.
Right, and he was sipping at it like you might sip at a scalding hot coffee, and that was about it.
Exactly. He's not fun enough to get drunk the way he's talking about.
Fuck no, unless he's playing beer pong with Ivanka Trump, which is.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, fuck, that was cringe.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
Tired, but.
Well, when one of us has.
Well, I hope you learned a lesson here.
No.
Things will never change, Robin.
It's never going to change. You want to have me to your house at dinner? Have me at 5 o'clock.
I know how to have you to dinner. I have you at noon.
I never left your house. You do it right.
Know.
You want to have him over for dinner, give him the complete wrong directions, and then never answer your phone again. And then just enjoy your fucking dinner.
You want to know when to have him over? Call your grandmother and ask your grandmother when would be a good time for her to eat. And then invite Howard over at that time.
Yeah, they can compare blue rinses.
Yeah, like the early bird special, check a restaurant near you. That's another good time to have him over.
Totally.
I mean, this dude, man.
Yeah.
Robin, who were the first couple to leave our engagement party?
You were.
Right.
Right. We left our own party.
That was fine. That was fine. You did that right because everything was done, and your leaving allowed other people to do their leaving in a, casual manner.
But that's just how it is.
I know he sneaks out. He's always the first to go.
When someone here in the main group has something going on, you guys are always supportive. Like I felt like for the beer league premiere, you were going from the very beginning. You're very supportive in that manner, and I tend to feel guilty because that red carpet is a nightmare for you, but you did it, and that's great.
I'm not a dick.
No, I know you're very supportive.
I stayed at your after party.
They were very gracious to Adam the other night.
Right.
You went to there's a dinner party and there's a movie premiere, you fucking idiot. There's a big difference.
Dude,
the guy's actually going to get Gary's dinner party is not going to get fucking written about in any paper or periodical.
Exactly. No one's taking Howard's picture. No one's praising him. No one's taking photos. No one. He'd bend over backwards to go to that. He'll stay up a couple hours for that. But yeah, exactly. That's not happening at Gary's.
Yeah.
Walk the red carpet,
Great guy.
for everything.
People don't know that.
Talk to everybody.
I'm getting a bad rap.
But you know what's funny? It's Wednesday morning.
It's just a dinner party.
It's Wednesday morning, and what you just said is all anybody wanted to hear.
Fuck you, Gary.
No, what you
asshole.
What you just said was right in the money. You're
Get out of here.
You drank, you got tired.
I said that all along.
But
I was
didn't.
tired.
You were
I
mean
said
and nasty and said he was wrong and Artie was wrong.
No, Artie was wrong.
Fred's wrong. Mary's wrong.
Fred's wrong.
I think Jesus is wrong.
I'm changing off that.
You need a bench coach.
Mary was wrong. She shouldn't have gotten up from her table. She's rude to her guests. And Artie was rude to show up late.
I apologize emphatically for that.
Artie showed up during the cocktail hour.
No, he showed up at 8 o'clock. That's why dinner was late. And you were upset dinner was late, too, honey.
I hate to say it, technically he did show up during...
He did. He got there 5
Yeah,
minutes.
but they pushed the dinner back because of
then
Artie.
pushed the whole dinner
That's true.
back.
That I totally admit that.
Who's
In
wrong?
hindsight, I should have begged you to give me the tour after the dinner, but...
That's true, Artie.
I would have prolonged it as much as possible just to fuck with Howard. I swear to God.
But listen to like how innocuous like these little things have turned into the house tour. And it's like, dude, this wasn't a big deal, man. Like you're just being eggshelly. Yeah. Like you're being a dickhead.
Totally.
You didn't make the tour.
I told you, I'm not wrong.
The tour had nothing to do with it because I had already pushed the dinner back. So
All right, no one cares anymore.
Okay. It should have started at 8 and Artie could have toured after dessert.
But to Artie's tour, I had pushed the dinner back to 8:15, so we had time.
Gary, it was perfect. The whole evening was delightful.
It was great.
And just state-of-the-art, beautiful, wonderful. And
It was.
thank you.
It was great to have you guys there, and I can't wait to do it again.
I would be right there.
Afternoon. Have an afternoon party.
I got to say one thing. Can we get that shock chair back for Gary?
I would be there in a minute. I enjoyed myself.
He will be there for
30 seconds.
I will be there for a minute. That's right.
Can you have the barbecue along Howard's jogging route?
If I hadn't drank, I would have been a lot better off.
Yeah, I understand.
But I was enjoying myself.
I've
I
been
don't know.
there. I've been
Big
there.
deal. I didn't know it was a federal offense.
I totally forgot that he last minute went with this drinking narrative. Did you hear what he just said? If I hadn't drank, I would have been okay.
Right. Oh no, he said it. He said it early on. I think in the first episode I did with the girls, and but he only goes to that well like once, and then this time, so second time, and in between I was exhausted because of these other things. So it's all about. I mean, pick a fucking lane and stick to it. What was the main reason you were tired, and stay with that. Don't give 4 reasons, because then nobody believes any of them. And you're full of shit.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe, he did mention the drinking thing before, but
honestly, you're a teacher that asked you, where's the homework? The dog ate it. We had a fire and a flood and an earthquake, and I didn't have a pencil.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's choose your own adventure. Then the wine thing, he's full of shit because during his so-called mad tear days, he'd be drinking like crazy and like, that was fine. And you could stay up until whenever you wanted. But now because he's drinking wine, fuck off.
Escalated into something like this because that is what you do every single event or party.
Right. Of course. But you haven't heard. The only reason it escalated is because Howard just lashed out at everyone.
He attacked everyone,
saying that he was right and everyone else was wrong.
I am right. I still admit it.
The agenda we have at Sirius, it's hard to let any subject go. It
That's
lingers.
right. We have to hang.
Already talked about how we talk about it on this show. Then we go to the wrap-up show. The Superfan Roundtable.
Right, Superfan Roundtable. What's that going to be about? What can they talk
about? It's all nonsense. All right.
What I love is that you guys got me on the phone, and this still has not changed one thing from his end.
I know.
But they did get to hear your end, which was, I think, a little bit of a lie.
No, you made a dent in it. A little bit of a lie.
Right lie, but I'll let her have it. I love her very much, if that's what she needs to do.
Guys, this was a dinner. Just a fucking dinner. Imagine what it's like on a macro level. Imagine what it's like when he has to fucking choose a pair of shoes. Imagine what it's like when he has to, I don't know, call his daughter.
Thank you, man. That's what I'm saying. Look at these microcosms that we get a little peek in, and imagine the bigger picture that goes on with this guy.
Totally.
I mean, this is like the equivalent of going to get a massage, and he still was just he was a limousine ride to eat a master chef's privately prepared dinner with Artie Lang and various other members of your staff. People would pay thousands of dollars to go do that. Tens of thousands of dollars to go do that, and he still had a problem with it. Major.
At that point, most likely. But think about you. Let's make it personal again for a second. You want to go to a fucking Blackhawks game, and you got four tickets, so you can take 3 friends with you. But that one friend is bitching about where you got the seats. He's bitching about not being able to get his beer fast enough. The food, the fries are too greasy or whatever the fuck, or nachos are shit, or they're cold or something like that. And he's bitching about, oh God, now I got to go to the bathroom, and bitching about every fucking aspect of it. And then you're thinking to yourself, why am I even friends with this person? Except you don't work with him, and you don't have to be kiss his ass. He's just a friend. You kick him to the curb. So these people can't do that, obviously.
It reminds me of when you go to Vegas. The thing I say about going to Vegas with your friends, I haven't done it in a long time. Right. But if everybody isn't winning, it's not that fun. No. And if you even have one friend who's just losing, even if he's a good sport about it.
Yeah.
If he's a bad sport about it, which I've been out with too, it's oh, fuck. It just sucks. But that's kind of what this is like. It's everybody's having fun. Everybody's winning money. It's a great night, but your one friend is losing. You're God damn, man, if you were just winning. But that one guy can bring the whole night down and just change the complexion of everything, man.
Yes, unless they can internalize it and just say, look, I'm not going to fuck with their good time. I'm losing. Yeah. You know what? That's what happens sometimes. You got to rationalize and say, I went. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. Most people can't do that on the odds of people being able to do that in the moment, let alone in retrospect, are very tough, because all you're thinking is, God, I had $1,000 before I got here, and now it's gone.
Yep. Yep.
You know
and
what
I
mean?
and I have had friends that were able to do that, where they just don't even say anything. Like they lost their shirt at the poker table. They're just like, I didn't do that. You know, they don't ever like, man, I lost 10 grand or whatever. They're just like, I didn't do that well. Like, I'm glad. But yeah, like it's just kind of like that. Like one person can really ruin. Like that's the other thing about this whole aspect is like this dude ruined a rare night. There's not going to be a whole lot of nights when you're going to get a private master chef in Connecticut and hang out with Artie Lane. Like, I don't even think the people on Howard's staff got this level of his staff got together that often even.
No, they didn't. And that's kind of the point. And so, and Artie, you can't get, it's very rare to get FaceTime with Artie. And Gary and him talked about it quite a lot because different lifestyles and all, but also because, you know, weekends are usually where he'd go fucking perform somewhere, but he decided, okay, I'm going to this thing. I really don't want to go either, but when I get there, I'll have a good time, meaning Artie. And then he'll just let it all down and say, fuck it. Let's have some fun. Let's bullshit. He knows how to socialize. Artie knows how to enjoy a drink and enjoy a meal.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he
you know,
loves it.
But you bring some asshole who doesn't enjoy anything, including who he's brought. And then, I don't know, just fucking, why don't you invite a Wolverine to your fucking meal?
Right. Jeffrey Dahmer. They invited Jeffrey Dahmer to their dinner.
Yeah, the Zodiac killer.
But she's right. She would have hung in there, I'm sure, longer, but she was happy to go.
Nobody was trying to keep you out till 4 a.m, Howard.
Well, whatever. So I guess I'm bad.
You're not bad.
No one's saying that either.
You're not a bad person.
You're
not a bad person.
You're not a bad person.
Yeah.
The eternal victim.
Yeah.
They always have to wind up the victim.
Fuck. I guess I might. Oh, God. Guys, help me out. Hug. I need a hug.
All shucks, guys. I'm kicking up dirt.
Can someone change my Pampers?
Bethany, you cut my nails.
Yeah.
But apologize. That's the only thing.
Was that Fred?
You're not a bad person. You just did a bad thing.
Right. I'm not a bad person.
But at least I must apologize to everyone individually.
I'm a good person who did a bad thing.
You should apologize to Al Sharpton for leaving Gary.
Did you go on the Al Sharpton show?
Hey. And we're going to wrap this up guys. There's one little bit with the wrap-up show, the finale. It's a 3-minute clip, and this will bring a conclusion to the Bababooey's feast.
But I want to say something before we start this. Like, so we ended that last note on Howard just going, oh, shucks, I am a bad guy, huh? Do you see the futility? Like, they go through all this work, all this discussion. They bring his wife into it. The second they get him to humble himself, what does he do? He plays a victim.
Mm-hmm. And they should have all said,
going through all of that.
The correct answer was, yeah, you are an asshole.
The correct thing he should have done, the correct thing should have been, guys, I was out of line. I was in a bad mood. I completely, I was a total dickhead. That's what he should have done.
No, but I'm saying, what I'm saying is like when he goes, I guess I'm the asshole. Then you go, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Unequivocally.
You're an adult man. You're not 9. You were. You are accountable. No, I get what you're saying, and they should have done that. Like, yes,
I would have tripled down. I would have been Fred opening the callers to call in and go, yeah, Howard, eat a dick. They're from Vinny in Long Island, like kind of shit.
Howard, how about jumping out of a window now, you selfish fucking asshole? But it's like you go through this whole thing and you're like, oh, the guy, he's gonna admit, and then it's like, yeah, you're like, oh wow, man, I went through all that and he's still not even owning it. That's another way of not owning it. Mm-hmm. And it's just futility. It's a waste of energy, man. These people.
Absolutely.
Ron, you're on the wrap-up show.
What's up, guys? Hey, I just wanted to comment real quick on something Robin said today when she said that she wished she would have been invited to Gilbert's wedding. She just would have had a tickle in her throat and not show up anyhow, so why the hell invite her?
Oh, she didn't show up to one stupid thing. Now she's like the no-show?
Well, yeah, you guys are making a big deal about it anyhow, so with Howard and everything, and with her, so she might as well she might as well not got invited to that too. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, she's the one who usually throws all these parties and gets everybody together. And I don't know about the tickle in the throat, but, you know, she's not one to often miss. But that leads me to a question for Gary. Do you feel vindicated at all after today's show when Beth called in?
You know, it's really funny, Doug, from Howard TV. You know, they have a monitor in my office, a camera, so they could see me. And when Beth said that she really didn't want to leave, there's a little intercom, and Doug just pushed it down. He goes, you should see the smile on your face. I did feel a little vindicated. I mean, again, the whole thing's not that big a deal to me. I've had much more enjoyment of watching everybody argue with Howard over something so ridiculously stupid. I've sort of stayed out of it for the most part. But,
Dude, it was a big deal to him.
Yeah.
It was a very big deal to him.
Right. Bowie's the worst liar on the wrap-up show because it wouldn't have become the big thing it did if you didn't mention it to Robin to start it off to begin with. You wouldn't have made a big deal. If it was just like dandruff you brush off, then you don't even mention it to Robin. It doesn't become a bit on the air.
Exactly. But you threw the thing. Like, you went out of your way, you threw it. It was a big deal, and it meant something to you.
Absolutely. Own it. And just say, I'm pissed. I'm fucking pissed.
No, I thought what Beth did on the air today was great. I mean, everybody thought she'd call in and she'd agree. And I was with Artie. I was thinking to myself, like, if she really said that, it would make me feel a little weird. But she didn't say that.
No, here's a little bit of what Beth said when she called in.
It would make you think she was a cunt, Gary, is what you wanted to say. If she was if she was on Howard's side, if she completely refuted what he had to say.
Gary got the impression that you were being dragged out against your will.
That's the story of my life. I'm always dragged out.
Were you really? Hey, wait, let's be honest.
Well, all right.
Did you not turn to me in the car and say, that's why I love you, and I want you to go home?
I said, you know why I love you is that you are able to leave a party like that in the middle of a party and people don't say anything. It's almost like you're God and you.
Listen to how fluid and relaxed and honest and non-stuttering and not like, listen to her speech. She measures it. No, that's not what I said. What I said, look at her later on in the clips we were playing. Howard, I love you. I need it. I'm at 1343. Like, it totally changes.
Yep.
This is where she's being honest. This is a story of my life. Howard, I didn't say that to you. I wanted to stay like. This is kind of what I was talking about, that rhythm. Like, watch the rhythm and the way people speak, not what they're actually saying. Like, she's totally different at this point in the call than she is later on in the call. And I believe it is the story of her life. We know it is.
Right,
actually.
And even the gap between sentences, like what entails that break. And so when she goes later on, no, but I love you, but it's still good, it's just those qualifiers, and then all of a sudden, you're backtracking again. So it's not a situation where you'd go, well, she fucking took it all back in the end, and she didn't lie. She told the truth about one thing, then she decided, I got to placate King Baby at the end. That's just for her own self-preservation. That's nothing to do with Gary's party. Because
look at what he does. He goes, whoa, or says something like, no. He stops the rhythm of the exchange to take it over and recalibrate. He's like, oh, no, we're not doing that honest of an exchange.
That's right.
Here.
Right. The truth settings are going to get turned off again. We need to adjust the truth button. Hold on a second.
Right.
So
leave the party and people accept it.
Thank you, Ben.
That was not what he was saying.
No,
we get it.
Said you love me because you wanted to get out too.
He's the savior.
Tell the truth. You were tired.
The truth. I thought it was. I didn't think twice about it. I mean, I thought it was rude as we were leaving.
See,
of course.
That's what we do. That's what I look over next to you, and believe me, people should be glad that you know when it's time to leave, or else you're miserable and you bring everything down. So it was appropriate that you left because you were so exhausted.
Not the way Howard probably thought the conversation was going to go.
Yeah. My other favorite part of that conversation was he goes, Beth, didn't you tell me that your other boyfriend, used to keep you out too late? She goes, that was till 4 a.m, not till 10.
So Beth calls in, and Howard, of course, starts deflecting on Beth, and calling her a liar, and which means everybody got hit with the shrapnel.
And again, another great line today is Artie goes, I didn't think there was room for one more person under the bus, but somehow he got Beth under it.
Now,
that's the end of that.
That's a great line.
It's a great one to end up on. So thank you, Bob, for helping me on this one. Any closing thoughts before we continue on? And of course, a happy birthday, happy belated birthday, as the case may be when this comes out. How old are you now, by the way?
36.
Oh, just a young pup. My Lord. Enjoy it.
I guess my closing thoughts on this whole series is, again, it's just it sounds innocuous, but it's sort of just the futility of thinking that you'll ever make progress with someone with NPD. And like here we have a clear-cut case where there's like multiple people that were there saying you're acting in a certain way on top of your spouse saying you acted a certain way. Yeah. And it's like you just never get anywhere with them. And that's another reason why I tell people to leave and to not really engage with them, because I think the trap that a lot of people fall into is that you're going to trick them into becoming accountable at some point. And you're just not. This is a dinner party where Howard could easily have said, I'm an asshole, and it would have all ended. So like you said, and like I say, if this is what happens with just a fucking dinner party, imagine what happens on a much larger scale in his life.
And for smaller things as well, like just trivial picayune shit, as well as larger things. I mean,
right.
Yeah. So, anyway, guys, we hope you've enjoyed it. This is a 4-parter. It's not often we get sagas that last this long, but we had a lot to say about it. Everybody did. And please remember to go back and listen to the other ones just to just to remind yourself of how much of a shit he was being. And thanks so much for listening. We love you guys. And keep the comments coming in on Patreon.
People are coming to the house. My wife is upstairs crying. I think you should tell your godfather what everybody else seems to know. I want all inquiries made. I want no acts of vengeance. I